a good ball. The flag stays down. Heaney! Oh!
They scored again! It's Davis again! It's job done now!
Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of the Northern Ireland podcast with myself, Adam Johnson, and Andy McComb. I've said this a few times incorrectly and I have been told that I've been saying it wrong.
Not by me.
No, Andy's actually been very polite about this.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Andy McComb. So it's a thing you put through your hair. That's how I'm remembering it.
People are now going to be thinking I'll Comey on the airwaves again here. Like
Comey.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to be that guy. I was just going to let you call me McComb for the foreseeable, to be honest.
But it wasn't correct. So I'm sorry about that.
Sorry.
But just so everyone knows, correctly. Otherwise, you're going to get people maybe saying your name out loud and you go, that's not correct.
The damage is done. I can't go anywhere now without getting McComb. Hey, McComb.
Anyway, well, today's episode is with Gavin White, is who we talked to first on the phone, obviously after his move to Cardiff from Oxford United. So we talked to him all about that and about his international career so far.
Yeah, it's all about firsts in this episode. So first games, which brought us into for the GAWA zone. We want to hear your first games. We want to hear the first games you've been to, what happened, who scored, did we win, did we lose. So we're going to be hearing about all of that in the GAWA zone later on.
So first of all, though, we're going to speak to Gavin White.
Hi, I'm Michael O'Neill, and you're listening to the Northern Ireland podcast.
Gavin, welcome to the Northern Ireland podcast. How are you keeping?
Yeah, man, I'm all good. It's been a mad week, but it's been a good week and I've enjoyed it.
I'm sure it's been very busy for you. Just tell us about that move then to Cardiff. I'm sure it's pretty exciting for you.
Yeah, very exciting. It's probably a move I didn't really expect. Cardiff's a massive club. They were in the Prem last year, and I was actually just training one day in Oxford, and I obviously heard a few rumours and that they were interested in. My gaffer Carl Ramsey just come up to me and says, it's done. And I was like, what do you mean? And he just says, that's it, it's done. And I was like, all right. So I didn't really have time to think about it. I just had to get my stuff and just go, right, that's me.
Is it something you think about, or is that just right? You're going to Cardiff now. Is it? You don't really put too much.
Nah, well, it's
a club like that comes in for you.
Yeah, when a club like that comes in for me, you're going and that's it. So I had to go and pack my stuff, get my boots, and that was me. So it all happened really quick.
I have to say I loved Neil Warnock was saying, I saw in his interview when you were announced, how he was saying he was watching someone else and then you came up on his radar. Is that kind of how quickly this all happened, as you were saying?
Well, yeah, it was my friend who played for Oxford last year called Curtis Nelson, and he's obviously texted me and says, the gaffer has watched your clips and he loves you, and he wants your agent's number and that, and then that's when I sort of found out that they were interested, and then I think that they made a few bids and they didn't get accepted, and then a couple of days later it all happened, and that was me going to Cardiff.
And obviously you mentioned Warnock there, he's such a massive character. He's a legend of the game almost. Are you excited to be working under him?
Yes, definitely. I got a wee taste for it on Saturday when I was in the squad. Come on for the last 15 minutes. He's a great guy. He's a great man to be around. He's helpful, and I'm hoping to learn a lot of stuff under him, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
And going League One's the Championship, obviously after being in League One for only one season, I imagine it's something you didn't expect to happen so quickly.
No, I definitely didn't expect it this year. There was a bit of interest from other teams in that, but when that didn't happen, I thought, right, I'll get my head down and I'll have another season at League One, and that's what I was looking forward to. But I always knew probably sometime I would have the chance to go to the Championship, but I didn't expect it this quickly. So I'm glad it's happening now, and I'm looking forward to see what the Championship is like.
Was that you almost mentally prepared that yeah, I'm going to be at Oxford again and just work really hard, and then we'll maybe look at it in January. So is it really a big surprise for you?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a surprise. Because obviously there was talk, and then the gaffer at Oxford, put out what he wanted for me, and I was like, right, it's not happening. I don't really care. I love Oxford. I'll work hard. I'll play another season in Oxford. I'll try and do better than the year before, and see what happens maybe the year after or January. But I was always concentrated to working hard for Oxford.
And now that you're obviously in the championship, what's the hopes for this season? Do you feel like, obviously it's just about getting yourself in the squad? Obviously on Saturday, as you said, you came on as a sub and got to experience that. What was that like as well?
Yeah, it was tough to be fair. Come on, the last 15 minutes we were chasing the game, and the game was really quick, and it was hard to get into. But I enjoyed it, and I think I'll enjoy it even more the more games I play. But I'll just look at this season the way I did last season when I first came. It's all about me playing games and getting minutes and trying to get some goals and just being a squad player, trying to get in the starting 11. And I think I'll be the same as this year.
I think so. If we look at Cardiff, they're happy because they've just got a great player. We've got Oxford, they're happy because they've been rewarded for losing a great player. But can we just spur a moment here to think about someone that's not so happy? And that's going to be Mark Sykes. You brought him over to your club, and then you've moved on, and he's left there to eat his chicken strips alone.
To be fair, it's alright. He has his missus moved over with him. He's alright. He can get someone to clean for him and cook for him. But he was actually the first person I told. And me and him are really close, probably best of friends, and he was the first person I told when I found out the rumor. And as soon as I told him, he says, right, if it goes off, just go. He says it's a brilliant opportunity for you, and he says, obviously I'll be raging. You're not going to be here, but he says for you, it's an amazing opportunity, and all the best in that. And, before I moved to Cardiff, he came around, sat me for 6 hours.
Oof.
6 hours.
Overwhelmed his stay there, I think. 6 hours.
I know, probably. He didn't want me to go. He trying to lap me in, though.
He's like, I've heard bad things about Cardiff. I don't know, like.
He was saying, I don't think Cardiff's, a nice place enough. Trying to get me? Nah, but he was alright.
I like the thought of him probably asking you, right, so what gas mark are those chicken strips on?
I know, but I said to him, right, as soon as I go here, I need to learn how to cook. That's the first thing I need to do. And he says, I know, same, but Courtney's over, so she'll do it for me.
I just love that it took 6 hours for him to realise, no, he's going to move. 5 hours 5 hours in, he's like, don't know, looks like he could be swayed here still. I'll give it another hour.
He's just missed me. He didn't want me to go.
That's great. But are you looking forward to Cardiff in general? Apparently it is. I know Sykes doesn't think so, but I've heard it's a good city. Like,
yeah, to be fair, I'm staying in a wee place at the minute called Cardiff Bay. It's down beside the water. There's a lot of stuff to do for kids and that. I have my daughter over with me at the minute.
Brilliant.
And it's been good. I haven't really got to see much of the city, but the stuff I have seen has been brilliant. And probably when I get myself sorted, get my apartment and that, hopefully in the next few days, I can get settled in and get everything sorted and see more of the city and that. But no, I'm really looking forward to it.
I was going to say, as part of actually the football transfers that people don't think about, that actually your life all gets picked up and moved. Like, do you enjoy that aspect? Is that okay, or is it something that's a bit frustrating? Players having to move and you having to move house, etc., etc. There's a lot more that goes on than just change of colour of kit. You know what I mean?
I know. It's definitely, it's really mad because obviously I have like loads of stuff in the other apartment, and I've been here for a week and I haven't get back, and I need to obviously sort out the rent and that and furniture, and it's really doing my head and thinking about it. But it's something you got to do as a player, when you move club. But I can't wait just to get that over and done with and get settled in this.
Obviously, we had you on playing the wee game of home or away whenever
Yeah.
we were. And one of the big things you said you missed about home was Boojum. Is that something
Yep.
that you're going to be gutted that Cardiff also don't have? Have you been sourcing burrito places over in Cardiff already?
Well, I got a burrito the other night on Deliveroo. There's a Deliveroo over here, which is decent. Don't have it in England.
There are other
So-
delivery services available.
Yeah, so I got a burrito called Bar Burrito.
Bar
Oh.
burrito.
But-
I see what they did there.
Yeah, I see that.
You know what? It was actually alright, but nothing compared to Boojum.
Nothing
Sorry.
compared to Boojum.
That's a question we need to ask about where are these vouchers as well. They said they
yeah.
were going to send them here, and we've never seen them.
Yeah,
So-
Have you
Boojum.
not?
The thread out there, definitely. We'll send some vouchers your way, and we're sitting here burrito-less.
I think you're going to have to get on the ball for September, get some vouchers.
Absolutely. Well, together with this plug on Boojum, I don't think we can do any more. Like, unless we change the name to the Boojum Northern Ireland podcast, we can't do any more for them. Like,
Nah, you did enough. Sorry.
yeah.
Right, so we'll move on to your Northern Ireland career so far. I guess one place to start is basically you made your the first time you were in the squad was out in Central America.
Yeah.
What aspect? I think this is another question for you. But how important is it that you're playing international football when it comes to club moves? Like when you start getting in Northern Ireland squads, does that really start putting your name out there to clubs in England?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, when I signed here last week, I was talking to Neil Warnock, the gaffer, and he says that he actually watched me before against Spain under 21s. And then he was telling me about me, skinning the left back a few times, and he says he doesn't know what happened after that. And then he says, but he has watched me before in that game, so it definitely gets your name out there, and especially playing in the first team now. It helps you. It helps clubs come and look at you and that. So, it's been good that way.
How was that Central America tour for you? I know you didn't play, but because I think you were injured, weren't you? I think I remember.
Yeah,
You were
so
injured?
my hamstring just blew up again.
But
It was good, just good to be a part of the squad, get that experience, get a feel for what it's going to be like to play with them players and that. So
at that time as well, it was your Crusaders, and then all of a sudden you're on a plane to Central America.
Yeah.
Kicking the ball around with Johnny Evans.
So it was mad, like, but no, it was good. The only obviously disappointing thing is I didn't play. I would have loved to get some minutes in that, but it didn't. And I need to make sure I work hard the next camp and the next games to be in the squad again. And Michael put me in the squads, and I've been in the squad ever since. So I want to say a big thanks to him for giving me that opportunity.
And we know you've got a sweet first touch, but sweet first touches don't come much better than a first touch in your debut for Northern Ireland and slotting the ball into the back of the net.
It was as I said to you before, when you asked me about it, it's obviously a moment I'll never forget. And it was an amazing night. Just to, as I said, just to get on the pitch. Never mind, scoring was a great feeling. Probably the only disappointing thing was, I didn't have anyone there to see it. No family or nothing. So, but obviously everyone was buzzing for me, and it was a special night.
Because I remember, because the goals, obviously, I think it's Connor Washington has the shot that's parried away back into you.
Yeah.
I think that people ask this to footballers a lot about what was going through your head. I don't think really footballers think that much in depth. Obviously, all you're thinking is put the ball in that net. But is there?
You don't even think, honestly, because it happened so quick. I think Shirley crossed it in. Connor got a touch to come out, and it was a wee bit close to it. But you don't think like, what way am I going to hit this, or am I going to hit it with the laces? Am I going to side foot it? But you just hit it and hope it goes in. That's it. And thankfully I did that and it went in.
I think you could really see in the rest of the team just how happy they were for you to score on your debut. Like, I think Stuart Dallas could have been done for GBH in those celebrations. When
he tried to push me onto the tarmac, didn't he? What was that about?
It was yeah, but you could see how happy he was for you. Is that something that you think as well, that how close you are in the squad already?
Yeah, it's a close knit squad, and I seen that when I went to watch the South Korea game. When Paul Smith scored in his debut as well. Everyone was so happy for him. Even the 21 boys, he was actually in the 21 squad, and then called up. We were all buzzing for him, and you could see loads of players from the first team. Players who've been there, done it. Just happy to see, and I think that's amazing. And the same as me. Me and Stuart Dallas are obviously close with the Crusaders together, and he's looked after me a bit, and you could see that he was so happy for me when I scored that goal.
And to move on, your next game was Bosnia away. Now, we know in talking about this, you're not going to have fond memories of this one, but when you have that game and you obviously had the chances and you hit the post, was that, obviously it's just one of those things that happens, that's football, but as you were saying before, you don't think, you're just putting the ball in the net and that's just how it landed. How did you feel after that game? I mean, obviously these things happen, that's football.
To be fair, I did think about it a bit for just the rest of that trip, but as soon as I got home, I sort of just thought, listen, these stuff happen. It's football. You miss some chances, and some go in, some don't, and it is what it is. But Michael has always said to me that I'm always in there to get them chances, and I have that wee goal in me. So it's just about me getting in them areas, and if I don't score, I don't, and I'll try my best to score the next time. So obviously it was a bit disappointing that I could have scored 2 in that game. I hit the post twice. So I was just thinking, what if I had scored them too? You know what I mean?
I think as you said there, you're making these chances yourself, so they're yours to miss. So that is an important part we have to remember here, that you're coming in and you are creating these chances, and I think the goals will come, as we've seen with Israel as well. And then moving on to like the Republic game as well.
Yeah, well, there's the Republic game. I missed that 1-on-1 as well, and
another big
could have had
chance.
4 goals.
Yeah, I mean, your goal tally, you only had what, five caps, and you could be 6 now. Selling you short there. Your goal tally could be crazy already here, so I don't think there's anything to be worried about.
Nah, listen, I'll do my best to get in them areas. I'll try and score goals. If I don't, I'll try and get in them areas again to try and score. So, it's football. You miss chances and you score some, and it is what it is.
You take a wee bit of stick about it though. Maybe in the changing room, you get a wee bit of abuse.
I didn't take a bit of stick from any of the boys. They probably knew how hard it was for me. Just coming in the squad and missing chances like that. But they all said, listen, I come in and I've done well, and unlucky, just get the next one. And to be fair, they kept me up a bit, but obviously got some stick for the fans and that. But you're going to get that anyway. So
personally, I remember after that Bosnia game, I was out in Bosnia, and I think the overriding feeling was more that how well you had come onto the game and change the dynamic of the game, let alone, before that, I don't think we'd had, I know George in the first half hit the post as well. But I think your influence on the game in the Republic of Ireland and Bosnia, both the way, I think the fans were more thinking about that. At the end of the day, we knew the Nations League wasn't quite going our way. The Republic of Ireland was a friendly. So it's more one of those things of, we have a player here. And I think that's probably more the overriding thing I thought from fans as after those games and after those chances.
Yeah, well, that's what Michael's been saying to me. You go on attack, show confidence, and get at players. If you're coming on as a sub, try and affect the game. Just start trying to affect the game early. So, I think that's just sort of the player I am. When I have confidence, I'll run at players all day. I'll try and beat them, and when I come on as a sub, I'll try and change the game. So, I think the last few games I've played, I think I did that. So here's hoping there's more to come.
Well, I think we've seen now your first 90 minutes that you've played for Northern Ireland was Estonia away, and that was an amazing victory. So
great victory. With 4 wins on the bench here, and we carried them until four very tough games, but they're the games that you want to play in, games that everyone's looking forward to. So I'm buzzing for them.
You must be on such a high now, especially like coming off such a low with the Nations League. And is it good to just kind of put that behind you and put it behind you in such style as well? 12 points from 12.
Yeah, to be fair, in football you sort of have to put it behind you. You can't really, dwell on it. You can't think about it too much, and then, you're getting into the next games where you're sort of still thinking about them games. So I think them players with the experience and all they have that they put that behind them quite quickly, and they've got on with it. And you see the last 4 games how well we've did. So we're just really thinking about the 4 big ones now and trying to prepare well and get everything right for them.
I think what's interesting, obviously, the Estonia game was 2 late goals, and then Belarus was the late winner from Paddy. What'll be interesting is what's kind of Michael's approach to this, because obviously you guys at halftime, you just keep going and hope you get the goal. But is there anything, that keeps the players going? Because it can be hard, in the last 5 minutes of games where, you need that goal, but it might not be happening. But yet we seem to have upped our game in the last 10, 20 minutes. We're still pushing strong.
Yeah. I think we just don't know when the game's over. We'll go till, the 94th minute, 95th minute. We'll give everything we have to get the win. And I think we've been like that for a few years now. And I think the manager puts that into us, and the coaching staff, and I think the players all in together. So yeah, I think it's that. To be fair, we're always going to keep going until the last minute.
And
even if we're one down or one up, we want to keep going.
And that probably suits your style of play, I imagine, as well. You like to obviously be on the front foot.
Yeah, well, what you can see, we have a load of attacking options even on the bench. You see the last few games, we've brought Connor Wessington on, we've brought Josh McGuinness on, and we've loads of pace now. So I think come the last sort of minutes when you bring them players on, their defence is tired, our attackers are fresh, and just get at them.
So you mentioned the next upcoming games, and you've got Germany and Holland there. Like, for you, just in your head, how do you come, like, over the last year or two, you've now went from playing in the Irish League for Crusaders, and now you're going to be playing against Germany and Holland, 2 of the biggest teams in the world, and your club careers obviously come on leaps and bounds as well. What are you thinking when all this is happening?
I don't know. I'm thinking that I'm looking forward to it, and you obviously as a kid you dream about this sort of stuff, and obviously for me everything happens so quick anyway, so don't even have time to think about it all. I look forward to it, and when it happens, then I look forward to the next one. So it's just me.
When you're playing for Crusaders, you played over, and I did look this up, over 10,000 minutes for Crusaders. 44 goals. Was there at any point you're thinking, the Irish League is for me, I'm gonna stay here, or was it always, no, I want to get across the water and I want to push on? Because obviously you were doing very well for Crusaders.
Yeah. I think it was for me always wanting to be across the water, wanting to play for Northern Ireland, wanting to make a good career of myself. I loved every minute playing for Crusaders. I think one day, coming to the end, I will go back and play in the Irish League at some stage. I want to move back home when my career's over and play in the Irish League again. I loved it, and I loved the players. I loved Stephen Baxter, the coaching staff. I loved Crusaders as a club, but it was always for me getting steps to going across the water and making a name and a good career for myself.
So finally, just to kind of wrap things up, would be, what's the hopes now? I mean, obviously we have Germany and Holland. Is it just to hope that we can have one of those miracle nights at Windsor Park?
Yeah, we've had them before, so obviously we're the underdogs going into these games, and I think that's a good thing for us. We will be well and truly up for it. The gaffer will have that into us, and anything can happen in football. So we'll just have to wait and see and what it's like on the night. Anything can happen.
Perfect.
Brilliant, Gavin. Thanks very much for talking to us. It's been great. I think we could
No problem at all.
Good luck with the house hunt.
I know. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and good luck keeping Mark Sykes out of your new apartment as well.
I haven't spoken to him a few times, actually. I might give him a ring.
CCTV.
Thanks very much, Gavin.
Cheers
No
to your
problem
time,
at
See you
all.
later, mate.
Cheers.
See you later, mate.
Bye.
Hiya, I'm Trevor Carson, and you're listening to the Northern Ireland podcast.
Okay, so great to hear from Gavin White there, telling us all about his first game with Cardiff, his first goal against Israel. So as you can see what we're doing here, we're now going for first, so we want to hear about your first games, your first walk on the beach. No, just first game, your first game.
Yeah.
So now we get to use our brand new toy from
Ooh.
raiding Pete Snodden's bins, and we found this. So Adam, if you want to press the button.
It's the GAWA Zone. So obviously we're going to go with firsts today. First game. So Andy, you're going to kick us off with some. First of all, you're going to kick us off with your first game yourself.
My first game. Well, the first one I can remember was a great result for Northern Ireland. It was Spain. Northern Ireland beat Spain. It was 0-0. I do believe that was early 2000s. And I wasn't technically watching it as a fan. I was actually they used to do like balloon releases back in the day, like at the start of the game they would bring in all these balloons, and it was quite an uplifting experience. And I was on the middle of the pitch at the start of the game with all these balloons and a rogue ball, because we're all warming up on the pitch.
Yeah.
So the ball trickles to my younger feet, and I look up and I'm like, right, this is my moment. Is it Healy? Who is it here that I'm going to roll this ball back to? Raul, it was.
I would have preferred Healy.
Yeah, well, I would have preferred Healy, but you make do with these things.
Yeah.
So yes, I rolled the ball back to Raul in my first Northern Ireland game, and then I do believe that it was the fear of the power in that pass that silenced Raul that night and earned us the 0-0.
Were you hoping you were going to get selected after that? Or?
I was thinking it. I'm not going to lie. I didn't tell anyone about it, but I was thinking it.
I think my first game was a very fortunate one over in Northern Ireland. I watched some games on TV, but first game actually here was Greece.
Greece, that was your first game?
So I came in as a bit of a glory fan.
And you're still here. That's the most important.
I'm still here. Yeah, still here. GAWA for life. Yeah.
So enough about our first games. Let's delve into. We put this out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the usual kind of hot spots, and you have replied to us in your tens
Of thousands.
of thousands, obviously. Let's pick out another one here. Oh dear. Well, there's someone that didn't have quite the same Spanish experience. Ashley. Does that say Start? Ashley Start. And she went to a 5-0 thrashing in 2002. Not the best. But she did say that the halftime mini soccer was probably the highlight. So, wonder who was playing in that. If you're playing in that, please send a message in. Be nice to hear from you. Full circle.
I have one here that actually when I saw it, I was just kind of did this. Just went, guy called Jake. Jake, you should be ashamed of this, just to be honest. Left early to not get stuck in traffic. That's the first thing. I'm like, I don't get that.
Not having that for me, no matter what happened.
And heard a big roar and Lafferty scored against Hungary.
Oh dear.
That's poor form. That being your first game as well.
His first game. Well, I suppose he's never going to make that mistake again, is he?
No, but
fair punishment, really.
Had the perfect first game, really, having that big ending, but didn't want to miss the traffic.
He's learned his lesson.
Yeah,
I would imagine and hope. Oh, there's another Spanish, James Hewitt. When we beat Spain 3-2. Mine are all very Spanish heavy here, but that's a good one. Beat Spain 3-2. What a first game.
Played them a lot, I think, in like friendlies and stuff. So it probably comes up quite a bit. I've got a guy here. This is brilliant. His Instagram username is just Bowden. I probably imagine that's his last name. But his first ever game was the George Best hat-trick against Cyprus in 1971. Now, let alone that George Best was even playing. But a George Best hat-trick on your first ever game, watch Northern Ireland. That is some special game that you'll never forget.
He set the bar too high there for me. Like, I don't think I would have came back. I would be like, it's not getting better than that, is it? What's he going to do next? He's not going to score 4.
Trying to think, Colin Clark scored a hat-trick in one game, and so did David Healy. So you probably waited a while for another hat-trick.
And then it was George Best.
Yeah.
So you're not beating the best.
No, you can't beat the best.
I have a guy here called Jordan who said that his first game wasn't about a game in particular, but he said he didn't know any of the songs, so he just had to kind of make it up. And he was in the stands, and I love that he was just in the stands, singing along, anything just to blend in.
Wonder what he sang instead of Green and White Army if he didn't even catch that one.
Yeah, and there's a part of me that kind of hopes that he's never found out what the lyrics are, and it's like years later, and he's just still in the stands going, green and white party, and he's just like, this place is class, is everybody partying? I hope you're still doing it.
That would be
Spoiled it for him now, I think.
Spoil it for him now.
Good lad, Jordan.
So, moving on, we have a special one though for this week.
We do have a special one. We thought this was a particularly good effort. We put it out to the fans what your first game was. A guy called Jackie sent us in a poem that described his first game with his daughter.
Brilliant.
And so we're going to give Jackie a wee ring now and see what he has to say.
Brilliant.
Hi, I'm Jerry Armstrong, and you're listening to the Northern Ireland Podcast.
So, obviously, on the podcast this time around, we're talking about fans' first games. And whenever you've seen this, you submitted to us a poem. It was about your just tell us about the story behind that poem.
Well, it was twofold. I read a wee bit of amateur poetry, and I've recently took my daughter to one of the games and thoroughly enjoyed it, and it struck up a bit of memoirs, of my dad bringing me, and was sort of put that memory together with taking my daughter to it, and even my dad now, it's older, when I take him to out to anywhere, basically have to walk along with him and stuff, because he's sort of in his 70s now, and I just brought a few memories together and I put it down on paper, and yeah, that's really the story behind it.
Brilliant. Just before we get you to say the poems, like, do you remember your own first game?
Oh, my first games from way back in the 80s. So going on the bus with my dad and going to it was a match against Israel that we won 1-0, and I had to stand. There was no seats them days, and I had to stand holding on to the wear my expenses that was around the match at that time, and cling on for dear life, because the amount of people that there was, if you fell off, you weren't getting back up again. You held your spot, and God knows how my dad found me in them days to take me back up. But yeah,
it's a big game and a big result for your first game, isn't it?
Yep.
It's some game to go for your first one.
Definitely.
Yes. He took me a few games, through the years, but that was the first one. I remember that because at the time there was still a wee bit of, there was trouble, and we got on the bus now into town. We got a stone through at the bus now. My dad sort of panicked and sort of jumped over to check me. Didn't know what was going on. It was just an instant thing, So that's another reason why that sticks out at me.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. But so now, obviously, when you're taking your daughter, and it's such a contrast, and I'm sure you being in the stands with your daughter, and it being such a family-friendly atmosphere, and how does it make you feel with that?
Oh, it's so different nowadays. You can safely and comfortably, comfortably, say that word. Bring your family along with you, and it's such a family event nowadays compared to way back then. And and even I've sort of seen friends of mine who, because of the religion stuff, wouldn't have went to Northern Ireland games, but have spotted them at the match recently. Going to the games themselves, and and the whole the atmosphere before the game, and and afterwards and stuff, and that's fantastic nowadays. Fantastic. I hate it when I miss a match now.
Yeah. That's such an important part, isn't it? Bringing that next generation of fans into bringing them through. So it's great to know that your daughter is enjoying it.
Yeah, it's I've got a couple of kids, but this one loves her football as it is. So yeah, they're bringing her to the game. It's sort of like it, in thoughts and reasons why the wording of the poem, then looking at her and enjoying the match, and and the rest of the kids, and seeing them enjoying it, and it's just brilliant nowadays.
Well, I think you've set that up perfectly now. If you want to go on ahead with the poem.
Oh, yep, okay, bear with me.
No worries.
So yes, so the poem's called Banging Feet.
Okay, brilliant.
So, okay. Take me to a match, my young daughter said to me. I want to go and see the mighty green and white army. I want to see the crowds cheering on with the team. I want to live the build-up and take in all the scene. Okay, my girl, let's go and see what you have missed. Let's go on the bus into town, she strongly did insist. Heading into town with all the other fans, together as one, yelling like some ancient Ulster clowns. Letting my young daughter hear all the football chants, hearing a few choice words between the lads on their ramps. I took her arm as we headed to our seats, the sounds of cheers and the noise of the banging feet. Looked at her lightened face and proudly did I say, oh, I hope you always remember this very day. Years later, becoming an old man, I remember that day as my daughter looked at me, my hair almost gone and grey. Come on, Dad, it's time to head to the game. She took my arm and I recalled how I used to do the same. Generations we together stay at the mighty Windsor ground. Together in everlasting love for our team we both found. A tear dropped from my eye and trickled down my cheek as we joined with the songs, the cheers and the banging of our feet.
Thanks very much for speaking to us, Jackie. That was Jackie Gorman with Banging Feet. So cheers, Jackie, and we'll chat to you again later.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries.
Bye.
See you later, man. Bye-bye.
Well, that was a nice way to end the Northern Ireland podcast this week, I think.
I think it was, yeah. Jackie, legend.
Yeah, very good poem as well.
Yes.
Loving the emotion in it.
Emotional stuff.
But yeah, so thanks for listening for this week. Once again, to always remember that you can listen to all our other podcasts we've done so far on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube.
All those places.
Alexa, yeah. I like doing that at home.
I'm an Alexa man. Like, she doesn't always do what you tell her to do, but we're getting there with her.
We're getting there now. My daughter's learned how to use Alexa as well, which is a bit annoying, but
nightmare.
You need to just get her to say, Alexa, play the Northern Ireland podcast now is the next thing.
That is the only thing she needs to know.
Anyway, well, thank you very much for listening, and obviously we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time.
Green and white party!
Armstrong! Northern Ireland has scored through Jerry Armstrong.
It's a good ball. The flag stays down. Heaney! Oh!
They scored again! It's Davis again! It's job done now.